View from the Loop, September 23rd, 2018 report. The Muslim Brotherhood, international crime today. We need to stop looking at the Muslim Brotherhood as a religious group and consider them to be part of an organized international crime family tree with many branches. Organized crime is all about trafficking contraband, arms, slaves, prostitution, kiddie porn, drugs, theft, gambling, rigging the odds, debt collection, money laundering, bribes, political influence, fraud, and competition for territory, all while dodging any uncorrupted law enforcement efforts. Their main tools of control: violence, threats of violence, and temptation, seduction with sex or money, and blackmail. Where does the Muslim Brotherhood crime family influence reach? Follow the money. You'll find old-fashioned mob corruption tactics under a fancy name that protects it from scrutiny by officials and the press for fear of Islamophobia accusations. So who fights Islamophobia by shutting down free speech and terrorist and crime investigations to combat this phantom problem? CARE and its media friends reaches into politics, charity and campaign donations, and throughout our culture. It even reaches into the future through educational institutions, a major branch of this Muslim Brotherhood family. Q Drop 71 from November 4th, 2017. Who is the Muslim Brotherhood? Who has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood? Who is Awan? What is the Awan Group? Where do they have offices? Why is this relevant? Define cash laundering. Sean Boberg wrote an article about the Awans for the September 16, 2017 Washington Post. Imran Awan, now 38, was a 14-year-old living in Pakistan when he filled out an application for a U.S. program that provides limited green cards through a lottery system. His lawyers said he and his family were chosen. He arrived at 17, got a job working at a fast food restaurant, and went to community college in Northern Virginia. He transferred to Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore and earned a degree in information technology. Awan became a U.S. citizen in 2004. The same year he was hired for a part-time job as an IT specialist in the office of Representative Robert Wexler, a Democrat from Florida. As demand for Awan's services grew, he began recommending his family members who had less formal training. His brother Abid, 33, started working on Capitol Hill in 2005. His wife, 33, joined in 2007. A friend, Rao Abbas, 37, was hired in 2012. And Imran's youngest brother, Jamal, 24, started in 2014. Each held part-time jobs in multiple Democratic congressional offices. By 2016, the five worked for a combined 36 lawmakers under separate part-time contracts with each office. The Awan family members were each paid between $157,000 and $168,000 that year, making them among the highest paid staffers on the Hill. More on Imran Awan. Article by Philip Giraldi from September 26, 2017. Awan, his two brothers and wife, naturalized U.S. citizens born in Pakistan living in the Washington, D.C. area, found employment as IT administrators in the House of Representatives, working for as many as 80 Democrat Party congressmen since 2004. Even though they may have had little actual training in IT, they insinuated themselves into the system and were paid in excess of $5 million over the course of 10 years, chief of staff level pay, while frequently not even showing up for work. Along the way, their security files were never reviewed. They had been involved in bankruptcies, bank fraud, and other criminal activity. Imran Awan, the leader of the group, worked particularly for Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was at the time also the chairman of the Democratic National Committee. Though he had no clearance and was not supposed to work with classified material, he and his family obtained password access to congressional files, and Imran himself was able to enter Wasserman Schultz's own personal iPad computer, which linked to the server used by the Democratic National Committee. As of February 2016, the Awans came under suspicion by the Capitol Hill Police for having set up an operation involving double billing, as well as the possible theft and reselling of government-owned computer equipment. It was also believed that they had somehow obtained entry to much of the House of Representatives' computer network, as well as to other information in the individual offices' separate computer systems that they were in theory not allowed to access. Imran was arrested on July 25th at Dulles Airport as he planned flying to Pakistan to join his wife, Alvi, who had left the country with their children and many of their possessions in March. In January, they had also wired to Pakistan $283,000 that they had obtained fraudulently from the Congressional Credit Union. Wasserman Schultz kept Imran on the payroll until the day after he was actually arrested. After his arrest, Imran was defended by lawyer Chris Gowan, a $1,000 an hour Washington attorney who has worked for the Clintons personally, the Clinton Foundation, and the Clinton Global Initiative. Complaints against Imran Awan were filed with the Fairfax County, Virginia Police in 2015 and 2016 by two women who resided in separate apartments in Alexandria that are paid for by Awan. Both of the women complained of abuse, and one is believed to have been a second wife for Awan, which is legal in Pakistan but illegal in the United States. Imran reportedly divorced his second wife shortly after his arrest. So we see in just this brief article that the Awans used an arsenal of mob tactics, gain political influence through fraudulent representation of themselves, steal classified government data, money, and equipment, transfer money overseas, dodge mandatory oversight, hide property, avoid taxes, and engage in domestic sex abuse, which looks a bit like human trafficking. While many suspect the Awans of spying on American politicians for Pakistan, chances are they were really working for the Muslim Brotherhood international crime organization. With the theft of personal information, Imran Awan was in position to blackmail any number of Democrat Party officials and congressmen and continue his criminal activities, including espionage, unchecked by internal monitoring. Q Drop 675, February 5th, 2018. Public interest. Keep high. Uranium-1 FBI informant. Awan, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Paki Intel, Muslim Brotherhood. Tarmac meeting. Supreme Court, Loretta Lynch deal. Antonin Scalia, 187. Q. How grateful was former DNC chair and current Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz when the Capitol Police discovered a laptop computer used by Imran Awan hidden in a crevice of a House office building, not the building where she worked, that may have been stolen from her. She demanded it be returned to her immediately, despite the fact it was evidence in the ongoing investigation against Awan. May 2017, during an open budget hearing for the U.S. Capitol Police, she inquired about the equipment inappropriately, and the police chief said he needed it. Furious, she threatened consequences, possibly to reduce funding to his force, for the defiance of her demand to return said lost equipment. Unlike most of her congressional colleagues who fired the Awans as IT upon being informed that the Capitol Police suspected them of criminal activities, Wasserman Schultz kept Imran on her staff. Why? Were there urgent, sensitive jobs to be done that only Imran could handle? Did she instruct him to dispose of incriminating data on her computer equipment before it could be confiscated during the investigation? Q drop 1250, April 23, 2018. When was Osama bin Laden killed in Pakistan? May 2nd, 2011. Where was he located? A close proximity to? Think logically. When did Awan's mission op go green? 2004. Follow the timeline. What happened during this time with Huma, Valerie Jarrett, Awan, and 3 others? The raid on bin Laden's residence began around 1 a.m., May 2nd, 2011, local time. That's in Pakistan. It was actually May 1st here in America. When 23 U.S. Navy SEALs and 2 Black Hawk helicopters descended on the compound in Abbottabad, a tourist and military center 75 miles north of Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. During the raid, which lasted approximately 40 minutes, 5 people, including bin Laden and one of his adult sons, were killed by U.S. gunfire. No Americans were injured in the assault. Afterward, bin Laden's body was flown by helicopter to Afghanistan for official identification, then buried at an undisclosed location in the Arabian Sea less than 24 hours after his death, in accordance with Islamic practice. The compound was located at the end of a dirt road 1,300 meters southwest of the Pakistan Military Academy in Bilal Town, Abbottabad, Pakistan, a suburb housing many retired military officers. CNN, May 2nd, 2011. 1 week ago, the Chief of Pakistan's Army Staff, General Ashfaq Parvez Kayani, told graduating cadets in the city of Abbottabad that the back of terrorism in Pakistan had been broken thanks to the sacrifices of Pakistan's soldiers. Kayani was speaking at the passing out parade at the prestigious Kakul Military Academy in Abbottabad, the West Point of Pakistan. At that very moment, the man who had dragged Pakistan into the war on terror a decade earlier was, it transpires, just a mile or 2 away, living in apparent comfort behind the high walls of a very private compound. Osama bin Laden, who had declared war on Pakistan, had apparently been living for months in a city that had made its name as a military garrison. Q drop 1510, June 6, 2018. Why are Hussein records sealed? Unusual? Why did 42 Hussein administration staff obtain FBI bypass? No background check. IT scandal Awan. Access to classified emails, summary security meeting notes, briefings, etc., with no FBI background check or clearance. Purpose? Pakistan leak? Muslim Brotherhood infiltration? WikiLeaks released documents that show President Obama's most trusted foreign policy advisor, National Security Aide Ben Rhodes, was denied FBI clearance during the transition period of his administration in October 2008. He was the only one denied security clearance during this time, and no explanation was provided. Rhodes went on to serve throughout Obama's administration. The Washington Post reported in March 2012 that 100-plus members of Obama's staff did not receive security clearance. About 10% of the total did not complete the procedure, with procrastination given as the reason by spokesperson D.D. Myers, who was among the uncleared and who had regular access to classified material. Yahoo News, October 28, 2008. Obama attended Occidental College in Los Angeles for 2 years before transferring to Columbia in 1981. It has been confirmed Obama graduated from Columbia in 1983 with a major in political science and that he did not receive honors, but further information, including transcripts, are sealed by the university. Nonetheless, he was accepted into Harvard School of Law. World News Daily columnist Jack Cashill wrote, Khalid al-Mansour, principal advisor to Saudi Prince al-Walid bin Talal, lobbied friends like Manhattan Borough President Percy Sutton to intervene at Harvard on Obama's behalf. Who paid for his college? His private school education before college? It is claimed he attended on a scholarship, but no records have been released. Speculation is he attended as a foreign student. His passport records have not been released, and his wrath was incurred when a few State Department employees gained unauthorized access to his passport. They were fired and investigated by the FBI. Meanwhile, a key witness who had been cooperating with federal investigators was later found fatally shot in front of a Washington, D.C. church. A police officer found the body of Quarles Harris, Jr., 24, slumped dead inside his car. Is Q connecting the Awans with other Democrat staffers in Washington that had bypassed FBI background clearance, even personnel in President Obama's White House? Is Q connecting this careless practice to infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood into sensitive government positions in the Obama administration? Is Q suggesting that Barack Hussein Obama's own secret background could be yet another Muslim Brotherhood connection? We know Obama visited Pakistan in his youth. He had a Pakistani roommate in college. His mother had worked in Pakistan. How intertwined is Pakistan in his lifelong personal interests? How deep are the Muslim Brotherhood roots in Pakistan? How is his Saudi Arabian advocate connected to Pakistan or the Muslim Brotherhood? Is the acquisition of classified data by Pakistanis part of a plan that encompasses not only the Awan Group, but the entire Muslim Brotherhood crime family that also includes Pakistan, Obama, the Democrat National Party, the Clintons, and Iran, among others? Let's follow Michelle Bachmann's lead and take a look at Huma Abedin's Muslim Brotherhood connections. According to WikiLeaks, Abedin was born on July 28, 1976, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, to Syed Zainul Abedin, 1928 through 1993, and Saliha Mahmoud Abedin. At the age of 2, Abedin moved with her family to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where she was raised and lived until returning to the United States for college. Abedin traveled frequently during her childhood and teenage years and attended a British girls' school. While a student at George Washington University, Abedin began working as an intern in the White House in 1996, assigned to then First Lady Hillary Clinton. From 1996 to 2008, she was an assistant editor of the Journal of Muslim Minority Affairs, founded by her father and headed by her mother upon his death. She officially took over as Clinton's aide and personal advisor during Clinton's successful 2000 U.S. Senate campaign in New York, and later worked as traveling chief of staff during Clinton's unsuccessful campaign for the 2008 Democratic presidential nomination. In 2009, Abedin was appointed Deputy Chief of Staff to Clinton in the State Department under a special government employee arrangement created by the department, which allowed her to work for private clients as a consultant while also serving as an advisor to the Secretary of State. Abedin's Muslim Brotherhood Ties by Andrew C. McCarthy, July 25, 2012. Despite mounting evidence of close ties between the Muslim Brotherhood and Huma Abedin, Secretary of State Clinton's close aide, Republican congressional leaders, particularly Senator John McCain and House Speaker John Boehner, continued to target their ire not at the State Department, but at Representative Michelle Bachmann. That got me to wondering, any chance Speaker Boehner might take just a couple of minutes out of his busy jihad against Bachmann to focus on how the State Department, during Ms. Abedin's tenure, has cozied up to Sheikh Youssef al-Qaradawi, the Muslim Brotherhood's chief Sharia jurist? Sheikh Qaradawi is a promoter of jihadist terror. His fatwas endorse terrorist attacks against American personnel in Iraq, as well as suicide bombing, by both men and women, against Israel. He is a leading supporter of Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood's Palestinian branch. He also runs an umbrella organization called the Union for Good, sometimes referred to as the Union of Good, which is formally designated a terrorist organization under American law. Abedin's mother, Saliha, who is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood's female division, the Muslim Sisterhood, is a major figure in not one, but two Union for Good components. The first is the International Islamic Council for Dawah and Relief. It is banned in Israel for supporting Hamas under the auspices of the Union for Good. Then there's the International Islamic Committee for Women and Child, an organization that Dr. Saliha Abedin has long headed. Dr. Abedin's organization describes itself as part of the Islamic Council for Dawah and Relief. And wouldn't you know it, the charter was written by none other than Sheikh Qaradawi, 92, chairman of the International Union of Muslim Scholars, and in conjunction with several self-proclaimed members of the Muslim Brotherhood. In the 2010-2011 academic year, the U.S. State Department Fulbright Scholarship was awarded to a lucky chemistry student from Qatar. Her name is Shiham al-Qaradawi, and she just happens to be the daughter of the very wealthy Sheikh Qaradawi. Since Secretary Clinton's tenure began, with Abedin serving as a top advisor, the United States has aligned itself with the Muslim Brotherhood in myriad ways. To name just a few, and the list is by no means exhaustive. Our government reversed the policy against formal contacts with the Brotherhood, funded Hamas, continued funding Egypt even after the Brotherhood won the elections, dropped an investigation of Brotherhood organizations in the U.S. that were previously identified as co-conspirators in the case of the Holy Land Foundation financing Hamas, hosted Brotherhood delegations in the United States, issued a visa to a member of the Islamic Group, a designated terrorist organization, and hosted him in Washington because he is part of the Brotherhood's parliamentary coalition in Egypt, announced that Israel should go back to its indefensible 1967 borders, excluded Israel, the world's leading target of terrorism, from a counterterrorism forum in which the State Department sought to partner with Islamist governments that do not regard on tax on Israel as terrorism, and pressured Egypt's pro-American military government to surrender power to the anti-American Muslim Brotherhood parliament and president just elected by Egypt's predominantly anti-American population. Oh, that's a lot of mob tactics going on there, hiding behind the faith of Islam and using Islamophobia accusations and powerful political pressure to intimidate investigators and critics. Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi, known as the theologian, was a pivotal hub connecting the U.S. State Department through Huma Abedin and family and her boss, Secretary Hillary Clinton, with Muslim Brotherhood publications, Al Jazeera broadcasting, Sunni religious edicts, fatwa, university scholars, Qatar, Hamas, terrorism, and money. International Association of Muslim Scholars, IAMS, is a controversial organization of Muslim Islamic theologians headed by Yusuf al-Qaradawi, described as the supreme authority of the Muslim Brotherhood, founded in 2004 and headquartered in Qatar. Q has directed us to look more deeply into the Muslim Brotherhood with connected people in America and around the world. There is no shortage of rabbit holes to explore. Good thing research is fun, eh? Next time, we will explore the ties with the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States Congress and the mob crimes of money laundering, bribery, blackmail, and foreign political influence during the Obama administration. A tweet by Robert Spencer of Shihad Watch on September 3, 2018. Egyptian media. John McCain was the godfather, leader, and real supreme guide of the Muslim Brotherhood.